So thank you very much, because I'm also sure that these are very important events for everyone, but especially for those who work in the food sector. They are a special occasion to exchange opinion and to understand what is the right way forward for the gastronomy sector as well. And I'm sure that I will come away from this conference with useful and new information. Here we are. So I would like to start my speech by talking about the role of the chef today, but which is not just about chefs, but about the whole world of gastronomy. Leaving aside the pandemic for a moment, more and more people are eating outside their homes. And in the last 2 years, food delivery services have increased exponentially. This means that more and more people are deciding to outsource responsibility for their food, at last in part. So people who process food are slowly replacing the people who did it at home. On the other, on one the one end, this means that our responsibility, and I'm speaking about my work, about chefs, our responsibility is very big. But on the other hand, it means that there is the possibility to work in a careful and specific way on a smaller number of people, those who handle food and those who produce food for others. One of the problems is that many people, in my opinion, have lost the knowledge of production methods, the rhythms of nature. They know very little about what they put in their mouth. Most people often make sure that only the food is good or bad, but on the other hand, we know everything, and we want to know everything. For example, about the shoes we are buying. So I think that this kind of ignorance does not let consumers to be able to be critical. They don't have the ability and knowledge to criticize food in a correct way, and people rely on food producers. So this for the reason, my commission is that in 2021 the cook must first get out of their kitchen a little more often. And then the cook must be constantly updated. He has to deal with the nutritionists and with other food and nutrition experts, identifying scientific source. This is very important. He has also to educate, learning if necessary how to do this, finding the most correct strategies in order to be able to disseminate new and good habits. I consider myself privileged because I had the opportunity to work with and for astronauts, together with nutritionists, food technologists. I could touch and see with my own eyes what it means to produce food on a large scale. I think I'm also a good example of how the world of work is now changing, and what the new opportunities for a chef can be. Speaking about food, we are planting a seed also in space. And it's extremely important to start with a clear idea of which priorities are first, including, of course, sustainability. Let's go with with this slide. This is what we can call the space table, and it's interesting to note that what we see is based on the food pyramid of a Mediterranean diet. And except for freshness, I assure you, it's all there. So, and space, we have to imagine space as a stage, a kind of theater, and seeing an astronaut eating mackerel instead of intensively farmed fish can play a nice role in terms of dissemination. So we can see the evidence, and Samantha Cristoforetti is warming up her ginger marker fillet. I think that when space travel will be possible, it will be useful for everyone to try to spend a few days inside the International Space Station. The ISS is an environment where food is a matter of life or death. Where there are no supermarket or restaurant on every corner. There is no food waste, and this is very interesting. Even bodily fluid come drinking water again. So extremely sustainable. Then food for astronauts, we had to think that means not only survive, but trying to slow down many of the negative effects that microgravity has on the human body. Here we can see a list of negative effects. For example, accelerated cellular aging, muscle atrophy, decline in bone tissue. So we have to consider that these negative effects in space come very quickly, and the only weapons available for the astronaut are food and physical activity. So imagine that 6 months in space correspond to 10 years of life on Earth. But I think it's better to take care of our wonderful world. I think it's an absolute priority, and for now we can only bring home from space useful information to improve the lives of terrestrials. I allowed myself to make a list of things to do. Some ideas that also come from my own experience. And about fish, for example, we needed to know clearly which fish species are to be preferred. We need to know which fish species are at risk of extinction, which are the best fishing systems, and more generally about food in general, we need to transmit the distinction. And I think it's very important, between price and value to the customer. But we also need to come up with the new recipes, or better, updated recipes. And I refer in particular to high quality recipes. If a product can be considered high quality food, I think it means it's preserving the environment, the public health, culture, hydrology, the present and the future of the younger generation. A valuable food product is the best help also that also politics can wish for, and as well as the best food that we can ask for. Every food product we buy should be evaluated not only in terms of its selling price, but also in terms of values, or values it bring with it. If a good has no value, I think that it cannot be considered food. So we have sorry, okay. Therefore, we should not only consider taste and beauty, but also sustainability, nutritional balance, and the quantity. It's incredibly important to clarify what portion and the frequency means. Otherwise, we will always create unbalanced and not sustainable dishes. More attention to cooking methods, where we need to know what happens to the food when we process it, and how the nutrients in it work. And the customer must know how to correctly value and appreciate our work and our choices. I want to end with a good example, in my opinion, of a high quality recipe. This is a dish that will fly to space in April 2022. And we have chosen to use Mediterranean little tuna as a source of protein. It's a complete dish, and we have chosen Eutunnus alletteratus with other top ingredients such as organic whole meal spelt, asparagus from behind my house, sun-dried tomatoes, seeds, and nuts. But the interesting thing is to realize that this species of tuna has a shorter life cycle than other tuna species, for example, has a rapid reproductive capacity, and an excellent organoleptic and nutritional quality. So finally, thank you again, and I wanted to invite everyone to do this. Sometimes let's stop and consider that food is not just a commodity. It's not just a consumer good.